Everyone in their right mind, from adverts and teasers we've seen from Rolex, thought that the Explorer 2 would definitely be discontinued. I did a prediction as well, prelude to the releases, where I thought the 214-270-39mm Explorer would be discontinued.
Today, any Rolex AD would tell you that this is a year wait list minimum. That's of course if you can get into the list.
And you know, the whisper as well is that this might get discontinued, and there's reasons behind this. Of course, there's a lot of videos about the Explorer 2 potentially being discontinued, and that makes sense too. But let me tell you why I think that this might go away as well. Some aftermarket dealers really went out and bought all of these John Mayer Daytonas, the green dial, yellow gold bracelet. It's not really called the John Mayer Daytona, but you know, because of that video, it's John Mayer Daytona. As well as the stainless steel models as well, both the Panda and the black dial. Prices shot up to the roof. They weren't really closing at this price, but they were listing on Chrono and different classifieds for triple, quadruple its value. Aftermarket dealers took this thing to the roof, to 150, and then Rolex came and slapped everyone and said, you know what? No. That's not gonna happen. Just to remind them that, you know, we're the big daddy, we're the one that dictate the price, and we're the one that dictates what's gonna come out and what's gonna get discontinued, and everything that you guys do is really speculation. We enjoy speculating, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be to the point where we get carried away in false hype. In my last video, I did talk about the Kermit, my dislikes for the elongated clasp and the bracelet. I didn't think it fits it, but I also did promise that I will cover the 126610LN. And I think this is the sub to go for with no shot of a doubt. Black is the classic color, of course. This is not something we can question twice. I promise you guys that I will lightly cover it. I'm not going to go through any of the specs because it's essentially the same exact watch. So a twofold video will cover the new sub, but also my thoughts and my friends' thoughts on Rolex's new releases. Let's get into it. Khaled, good to see you again, brother.
Great to see you too, Arda.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. You know, just a sunny day in the middle of Ramadan, and we're just trying to make it happen, Khaled. That's all we're trying to do.
It's quite warm outside as well.
It is. So the morning is good, and then you get to middle of the day, and that's when you start thinking about, all right, when do I get to the end of the day, right? When do I break my fast? So that's usually when you want to just be resting, but we got to do this video. This video is important.
Sure. So tell me, what are you wearing today?
Today, Khaled, I've got the 1-2 reference, the 41mm new Submariner that was released in September 2020. You might be thinking that I've just put out a video talking about, or rather disliking the bracelet, the clasp. You know, the clasp is elongated, the bracelet is wider. But my point over there really was the fact that it was more pronounced on the Kermit due to the bezel color, right? So the green on black, on 41K size, on that wider bracelet, on that wider clasp. In the beginning, of course, it was hot, so I had to pick it up. But then wearing it for some times, I realized they should have kept the older sizing. I'm all up for the maxi dial. I'm all up for the beefier look. So this is something I prefer over the new one. On this one, however, it's not so pronounced because this is classic. If you were to get one Rolex Submariner, or out of the new line that is we're talking about, my recommendation would always be to go for just a basic classic look. So that's the black sub date or the 124060, the no date version that is. But speaking of Rolex, you know, we're seeing all these crazy prices. Talk to me, what's your thoughts on what's going on with Rolex prices right now? I'll put the equivalent US dollar on the screen, but something like 150,000 dirhams for a Panda dial Daytona.
You know, it's quite, the prices went up. We did speak about this briefly in the last video. Recently though, I'm seeing, since you told me about the EP, I was interested to see what are the prices in the market. And when I did I did some research and I looked at a few platforms, I saw that you were right, the AP
it shot up, right?
Very shot up. And then I went into Rolex.
Yeah.
Just to see what's going on. And yes, you're right, it did reach around 150,000 dirhams for the Panda. This actually happened when there were a lot of rumors about the Daytona getting discontinued, and one of the reasons was there was a picture that came out with a blue bezel.
The blue ceramic, yeah.
The blue ceramic bezel.
The claimed blue steel Daytona.
People started nicknaming it already, and
it did look legit though, right? I mean, it had like the tags and everything.
I was very skeptical about that
Right.
that specific image that came out. I was
Yeah.
not too sure, to be honest. A lot of people asked me, and I said, "Look, I don't think this is real."
Sure.
And it's too early for the Daytona to be discontinued.
Sure.
You know, it just came in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, it's too early to get it discontinued.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need to consider when you're looking at certain pieces. Took so long for the Hulk to get discontinued, and
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out with a new bracelet, given the trend that we're seeing right now.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, the Hulk, we all knew that's due for an upgrade and a replacement, the anniversary piece with no shadow of a doubt. But then just going back to the point where, you know, you said you thought it was going to get discontinued, because I thought the same, right? Just watching different videos, looking at what aftermarket dealers are basically coming up with, insinuating that these watches are discontinued. The word spreads fast. They control the market, right? So we're not even talking Rolex here. If you look at the new releases, people are saying that we expected a little bit more from Rolex. I think that was just the right release for two reasons. Number one, I look at it as an extension of the new models, the Oyster Perpetuals, everything that had been released in September 2020. But then going back again to the Daytona, the steel one, yellow, gold, green dial Daytona, the word came out that it's gonna get discontinued. The market prices just shot up. Aftermarket dealers took this thing to the roof, to 150, and then Rolex came and slapped everyone and said, you know what? No. That's not going to happen.
You know, with this particular piece, this has actually happened. It actually happened 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of speculation that the green dial gold Daytona would get discontinued, and you saw the prices shoot up so high, and it didn't get discontinued.
Yeah.
And then the next year, which was basically when they introduced the Oyster Perpetuals.
Correct.
Again, people thought that it was going to get discontinued. It didn't get discontinued. This year, again, people started speculating because last 2 years,
Sure.
it was supposed to get discontinued, not get discontinued, so it would get discontinued, and you saw the prices going up very high. And that's what tells you about the market. They're in for investment.
Of course.
The moment that someone sees that a watch gets discontinued, the first thing that comes to that person's mind is, okay, let me invest into this, because this is going to triple in value.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pump in, pump out, get out quickly, and make a few bucks over that. So I think that's what Rolex knows. I actually really appreciate what they've done. To be honest, it was getting a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Looking at these numbers, looking at what numbers that they're getting sold at.
Yeah.
In comparison to their retail prices.
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of the other brands.
Yeah.
You've got a quartz watch selling for 4 times its value in an auction.
That's ridiculous. If you go up on Chrono and look for how many Daytonas are there, it's a ridiculous number. It was never limited.
As I said last time as well, all these prices that you see, all these watches are worth their retail. I mean, if you've got a vintage watch, which is not in production anymore, it's very rare to find. It's sort of like an art piece.
Yeah.
Right? People go and they like art, they pay money for the art. These watches are basically premium watches that people would like to pay money for. But if you've got a watch which is already in production today, and you may be able to find it in maybe 6 months, maybe the authorized dealer may give it to you in 8 months, especially on the Rolex side. I'm not talking about Patek and AP, that's something else. But on the Rolex side, Rolex is a mass producer.
Sure.
Right? So there will be a time where you may be able to get this watch from an authorized dealer. So patience is a virtue.